Some type of example that came from Prophet Muhammad and his family, okay? So here, that hadith is saying this. Intelligence shows us, or it gives us, number one, an understanding that there is not, it's just one God, man. It's just a God. There is a God, right? That we got a God that exists. This God that exists is owed some type of recognition. We can work that out. Every individual got to work out how they figure how God works, right? But what the Imam is saying right now is, if you're intelligent, then what ends up happening is you will come to the conclusion, by looking at this creation and having some experiential knowledge. Remember, we talked about that. That experiential knowledge being what? Wisdom. You'll come to be wise, and that wisdom will tell you, hey, there's a God. There's something superior to myself. The second thing that the hadith is telling us is that you have to have, when the person asks the Imam, all right, is intelligence enough then? Can we just live our lives? Just kind of move into the world, use your mind, and your mind will tell you how to avoid booby traps. Your mind will tell you what is good morality and what's bad morality. Your mind will tell you what's right and what's wrong. So Imam told him, the way that intelligence plays its part in that reality is that you also have to understand that you got to find a leader. That the divine leadership, not just any clown now, we're talking about divine leadership, right? We're not talking about Donald Trump. Donald Trump is not going to lead you to what it is that we deal with here. He's a political leader, right? We're not talking about leaders that might be in other spheres of the life. They're not going to lead you to what it is we're talking about. Right now, we're talking about the divine wisdom. So in order to have that type of intelligence, you must have a divine leader. So you have to be smart enough now to search the earth. Who is that? Who's the leaders now? Who are these people we should be listening to? Is it T.D. Jakes? Is it Ayatollah Khomeini or Khamenei, now who's still alive? Is it the brother who represents the Buddha? Is it this person? So that means now you have to go on a search. That the people who are in this room who are converts, we went through that step already. Those who are here who are not converts may be going through that step at the moment. All right, so all of us who converted, barring the ones who were born Muslim, then we went through that step. We had to find out, now who are these moral leaders? Then you find that piece. Your intelligence will bring you there. And then you have to follow your own mind. So at the end of the day, once you recognize that there is a God, and you understand too that I have to follow or find a divine leader to help me. Why do you find a divine leader? You need somebody to hold your hand. The human being is the third most packed animal on the planet. And what we mean by that is there are only two other species on the planet Earth who's less or who's more communal than a human being. And that is groundhogs and wolves. That's it. If you're not a groundhog or a wolf, that next tier is a human being. And that means that there's no such thing as a human being pulling his boots up by his own bootstraps. Come on. All this foolishness that the material people tell you, and the people tell you from the Western world, oh man, just pull yourself up by your own bootstrap. Nobody pulls themselves up by their own bootstraps. When you're born a helpless baby at the mercy of the world and whatever you came into. When we were born as babies, what bootstrap you gonna pull yourself up by? You were sitting there peeing and booing on yourself and looking for something to suck on, and that was gonna be handed to you by your superiors at that time, your mom and your father. That's what you had to do. Totally dependent. We're coming to this world totally dependent. And as you start to come into your own adulthood, trust when I tell you, those of us who are the white beards and the gray hairs, we look back on y'all who will still have your black hair and you still have your youth. And we see all your stumbling and falling and all your shortcomings the same way our elders saw ours. And when we look at y'all, we bite off our fingernails, we're nervous for you and everything. Like, man, is this person gonna make it? Is he or she gonna be able to, come through these turbulent waters? Right? Because we can see that you're dependent on us. And we have to continue to give you the guidance and give you the leadership and give you the guidance. So what that means is you gotta find your leaders. Who are the divine leaders that I gotta hold on to? I gotta hold on to somebody's hand because I know I can't do it all by myself. And then thirdly, once you hold the person's hand and you start to move down the path of whatever path you chose, Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, Jainism, whatever, Confucianism, whatever it is you chose,
For us in this room, we chose Islam. So that means now I still got to be a thinker. So while I'm in the process of being a Muslim, I still got to be smart. Y'all come on, Bismillah. Y'all come on in here. We got to still be smart enough to be able to deal with our own conscience, our own souls. Just because you become a Muslim don't mean you become an automaton. You don't become an idiot. And you don't just listen to somebody and do whatever they tell you to do just because they're in a leadership position. You got to listen to people. You got to listen to these leaders. And you have to engage them. That's why I have 30 minutes open session. I don't ever have a class and don't allow people to say what they have to say. And give a person an opportunity to agree, disagree, ask a question, go back and forth, whatever the case may be. And anytime we can't do it here, or the issue might be too touching, or you think you might embarrass me, or this, that, and the other, then pull my coattail. You pull your leader's coattail, you pull people to the side so that you can get an understanding. Because on the day of judgment, guess what? I'm not going to be standing in front of you and tell God, oh God, yeah, I got Sister Pam on that one, because yeah, she was following me. That's not how that works. On the day of judgment, Sister Pam's standing on her own, and Aqil gonna be somewhere sweating and standing for his own. I'm gonna be begging for mercy from wherever I can get it, and she gonna be begging for mercy wherever she can get it. And then as Allah says in the Quran, I won't be able to talk to her, she won't be able to talk to me. And she gonna look up, and she gonna be looking at what, he should be my teacher. And then Allah will screen right around, but get back, you go over there, and you tell me, you get back, you go over there. You stand today for yourself, today she stand for herself. You feel me? So even at the end of the day, you have an internal iman. All right? So you got your God, you got your physical iman that you have to look at to lead you, and you also have an eternal iman, which is your own intelligence. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. All praise to Allah, the Lord, the cherished, the God of all of the universe. And with that ends our chapter of intelligence. Again, we open with intelligence before we proceed to take care of the usuls. Usuls mean those things that are fundamental things that you have to believe to be a Muslim. Again, we will go through each usul. They are in order. Tawheed, the oneness of God, the unicity of God. Number one. Number two, the divine justice. How is it that God works on this world? Is there something really just in this world? Is there such thing as justice? Number three, the iman, or the prophethood. Who are the prophets? Who is Prophet Muhammad? Who's Jesus? Who's Moses? Who's Abraham? Who are these people? Did they really exist? Did they have a message? What was the message, etc.? The next thing we're going to deal with is imamate. Who are the leaders after the prophets? After all these prophets died, who leads us then when the prophets are gone? There ain't no Muhammad here, so who's leading me now? Where's my leader if Muhammad's dead? And the fifth one, Ahmad, or the day of judgment, Yom Qiyamah, meaning the day of judgment, the day of requital, when people will have to stand and they will have to have some type of reckoning of how did you spend your life. The Creator created you. You don't belong to you. That's another thing. This body don't belong to me. This body is a loan to me from a Creator that created me. The soul that's inside this body is not my soul. I didn't self-create. Something created me. And I owe obeisance or some type of recognition to that Creator. And the day of judgment is when you have to bear that soul. And the Creator of that soul is going to look at it just like right now. If I let one of y'all borrow my Jetta, if one of y'all say, Brother Aqil, can I take your Jetta to go to the store? And I said, yeah, man, go ahead. I hand you the keys, and y'all jump in my car and ride down that road. When you start going down that road, you have full responsibility of that Jetta while I stand here in this building. And when that Jetta come back, I want that Jetta to come back to me exactly the way I gave it to you. Not with a flat tire, not with scratches, not with you done tore my seats up in the inside, not with my car with dinks and all kind of bangs on it. And then I get my car back, and you have me back the keys. Thank God, assalamu alaikum, and roll out. You bring my car back beat up. I'm like, yo, what happened? So this is what God's gonna say about us when you bring your soul back. So we want to make sure that we bring our soul back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We bring our soul back well pleased and well pleased. When I open the class up, that means anything from the usul category, the 5 things that we have to believe to be a Muslim, and the furu category, which are how you act. Once you become a Muslim, how it is you're supposed to act on your Islam, okay? So the table is open for anything. And I'll give y'all a moment. If nobody have anything to say, then it's something I have to bring up from last week. But now the floor is open for y'all, okay? Bismillah.
I feel that I have a question.
Bring it on.
Okay, so I have 2, but So the first one, so last week in your class, and I spoke to another Sheikh about that also.
You spoke to who?
Another Sheikh.
Okay.
About what you were speaking about in regards.
So you going behind me talking about kids? This is a joke. This is a joke. That's a joke. You know, one time I did that. One time I told the Sheikh that, right? And that brother was done with me. He said, I told you what it was. And you went behind me and went to somebody else, subhanAllah. He said, brother, you're a shaitan. When he told me that, my heart was broken because I really respected this man. And he told me I was shaitan, I was the devil. Because
I think you said wrong. I think there was more clarification on my part, and I'll tell you. Yes. Because last week, after our class, and I don't know why I felt that way, but after we speak, I felt as though like I should give away everything I have. Like I felt when you said that.
Allahu Akbar.
You know that the Sheikh that I don't know who you said. I don't know if it was Malcolm X who put $24 in his account.
Yes,
right?
Malcolm X.
So it almost made me feel as though I shouldn't have a savings. I should be just giving away in the way of Allah. And I don't know if that was what we're supposed to do. So I went for clarification. Is that as Muslims? Because I know we teach our children to go get an education and
you get the world.
Right. You make all this money, and we save for a rainy day.
Right.
So can you clarify in your
Yes, I can. All right. So one thing about the teachings of Islam or the teachings of Allah and His divine, His inspired leaders is that you will feel like that. I mean, if you have a good heart and you're a sincere person, you'll feel like you should be working for humanity and giving everything you got. And that's why we do have walking sages on this planet. Some people don't care about money, cars, women, or that they're women, men, and all these trinkets and clothes and fly glasses. They don't care about that stuff. They just want to teach the message of Allah, spread it to humanity, and they actually want to see people grow. And they want to see people happy. They want to see, they want to see this thing mix up and say, man, look at that. Look at Islam at work. Right? So there are people who like it. Those are the sages. They have their ways. Your Prophet Muhammad, on him be peace, was their ways. Prophet Muhammad, at one point, they were so poor. The Muslims were so poor the first 13 years of Islam that they would actually literally pass out walking in the streets. Because they were hungry. Have anybody in this room passed out from hunger? Please raise your hand. One person. And they're passed out. Not voluntary hunger. Not voluntary. Like you do in the fast of month of Ramadan. I'm talking about you just couldn't get something to eat and you would just walk around saying, man, I'm getting ready to get faint. If somebody would give me a cracker. Who in this room passed out because you were so poor you couldn't find some beans and rice or some crackers or some Kool-Aid or something? Who in here? I know ain't nobody gonna raise their hand. Nobody knows what that is. We don't know what crushing poverty is. But Prophet Muhammad knew what it was. Once they attacked the Prophet Muhammad, they isolated him when he was in Mecca. They started to boycott him. His wife was the Oprah Winfrey of that era. Literally, Khadijah was the Oprah Winfrey of the era. She was like a billionaire in today's money. But they shut her down and they stopped doing business with her. They boycotted her business to starve out Prophet Muhammad. Because they said, hey, if we don't stop his wife, this Oprah, she's the one that's supporting him. She's the one, that's how he keep getting off the ground. We got to shut her down. So what they did is they attacked their Oprah of the day, which is Prophet Muhammad's wife, Khadijah. They stopped doing business with her. They ruined her business. This woman, first of all, when her father died, he left her his business and wealth. So she didn't work hard to get her wealth. So you're talking about a woman that was born what we call a silver spoon in her mouth. So she was a silver spooner. But this silver spooner saw this poor Arab man and backed him. Said, I believe you telling the truth. I believe these teachings are good for humanity. And I'm going to back you up. So here go Prophet Muhammad, who had nothing. Come from a poorer family. They had a lot of esteem, but they didn't have a lot of wealth. Right? It was a tribe with esteem because of what they did in the past, because of their characteristics. They're a very moral tribe, right? So the Prophet Muhammad's tribe coalition, his clan, which is called the Hashemites, the Hashemites, they were people who were known for their basic good behavior. They were fair. They were going to deal with you truthfully in business, etc. But they didn't have a lot of money. Some of the other tribes, they lacked morality and they had money. So Khadijah comes from one of those tribes that had money.
So you put those two together, they were a powerhouse. So now they're knocking down Khadijah. Don't buy from her. Don't take nothing from her. Isolate them. So the Muslims had actually moved together, lived together in this small little town. Nobody would do business with a Muslim. They found out you're a Muslim, that was it, collage. You were getting ready to be poor. And they put the Muslims effectively within 3 years into the poorhouse. All that money Khadijah had, she was spending. Going back to your question. Spending, trying to make sure the Muslims are all right. Who's hungry? I'm hungry. Can you feed me? Put money into that. Who else? I'm hungry. She kept doing that. She did that for 3 years. They depleted her resources because she had nothing coming in anymore. So that Oprah Winfrey of her age got totally depleted. Do y'all know how she died? Anybody have any idea how the Prophet Muhammad's wife died? I'm sorry, speak up. That's right. She died from what we would call today, what is it when you,
Starvation.
yeah, starvation. Her body didn't get enough nutrients. So she actually passed out. And she couldn't come back because she was so weakened by that state of not having food. So imagine Oprah Winfrey now. Imagine that. Oprah is already a big woman. So you know she's eating well. Got $1 billion. We know she passed the $1 billion mark some time back. Imagine seeing her get skinny and go all the way down to starvation and actually witnessing this woman money go away. Wouldn't that horrify us as black people to see one of our richest icons get depleted away? Wouldn't that horrify you? And that happened to the Prophet Muhammad right before his very eyes. He saw his wife get totally depleted. Do you know what that make a man feel like when you can't protect your wife and you can't stop somebody from starving out your family? Can you imagine what that made Prophet Muhammad feel like, that these people did that to him and caused the death of his wife, and his companions were walking through the street just falling out from starvation? One brother said, I fell out. This is a true story that you can find in the Hadith material. One of the companions said, I was literally walking down the street and I was thinking to myself, oh God, I'm about to faint. He knew he was about to faint. And he said, right as the words kind of came to my mind that I was about to faint, he said, I was out. And he said, while I was there, the sun was baking down on me. So it was kind of like, disturbed me a little bit, kind of bring me to, like, wow, it's kind of hot, So because of the heat, it kind of brought him back. And he said, when I looked up, some of the people in the town were stepping over me. They had literally thought I died. And he said, and when I started to kind of show signs of life, one of the guys came to me and said, hey man, you alive? You all right? And he said, and at that point, I just told him, man, I'm so hungry, I gotta get something to eat. And he said, finally, people brought me a little water, a little this, a little that, and they were able to get me back on my feet. This person survived that, right? But a lot of the companions of the Prophet did not survive that. And you're not only talking about that now, we're talking about the women were being raped in the marketplace. So a Muslim sister, if you left that area just to try to get something to eat, because sometimes, we'll do the things we gotta do. Especially the sisterhood. Sisterhood not gonna watch the kids starve. They're gonna go out, they're gonna sell their bodies, they're gonna do whatever they got to do to get some food and stuff going. So these people try to be moral people and not do those types of things, but they will go to the marketplace to beg or ask for something. And they will get raped. The men would rape the women. This is what was going on. Y'all got to know this. The men were being killed while they were in their weakened state. While that was going on, a little bit before that was going on, Prophet Muhammad himself, when the wealth started to come through, guess how he lived? He slept on the floor. And when he got up in the morning to lead the prayer, you could see the welts that he would have, because all he would throw down was a bamboo mat. You just the same bamboo, the growing trees, that thicket that come off there. And y'all know, I'm from Savannah, so we see them everywhere, right? That stuff is hard, man. It's not soft like this. That bamboo thicket is tough. And when you get on it, your skin get on it, it feels harsh and coarse. And Prophet Muhammad would sleep on it. He would never sleep on the bed. So even when his wife would say, why are you doing that to yourself, man? We are out of that hardship. Man, you can sleep on the bed. He was like, no, I want to sleep right here. I'm just fine. And so people would literally see the thicket marks in the Prophet Muhammad on his face and on his side when he would go to pray in the morning. They'd be like, man, you still sleeping on coarse material, man? With all this money flowing through here? That was Prophet Muhammad. when he got extra money, he didn't bank it. He released it. He looked for somebody who needed the money. He would talk to Bilal, and Bilal was his personal treasurer. And Bilal would take that money, boom, and he would give it to the people that need it. So this is Prophet Muhammad, but that's a person on that status. Some of the imams, they did keep some of that money. They had to keep some of that money to make sure they took care of other business, right? But not in the hoarding sense. So, do you have to be a good believer? Should you be giving up all your money? No. You should take care of your family. And there are hadith to talk about this. You should take care of your family. Make sure you have enough to do a business with. You always want to have seed funding for business. And you want to make sure you employ yourself and people. Try to make sure the money is flowing and everybody get a little piece. And then after that, you might want to hold something just for your children. But don't hold anything outside of that. That's not the Muslim way. To hoard money, that's not us. That money got to be being used. So when you have extra money, you got a seed fund. You got to look for projects. Who do I believe in? Oh, he want to do a landscaping business. He want to open a barbershop. She want to do a beauty salon. This one a funeral home. We got to keep that money going in these small businesses. And that's what you're supposed to do with your money, okay? If you want to reach the level of muqarrabun, that statement means those people who are so close to Allah that they're only separated from God himself or itself by a thin little veil, like a curtain that you put up here, right? If you want to be like those people, then I would say take your wealth and throw it to the wind. Take all this stuff and walk away from this world. These are not my statements. These are statements from Prophet Muhammad and the A'imma, on them be peace. If you want to reach that level and you feel like that's your soul, then you should take your wealth and throw it into the wind, and you should do everything in your power to make sure you establish sanctification, holiness in this world through the religion of Islam, best you can. All right? If you don't have that ability, if you're not about to do that, then you go ahead and make sure that you use your money to help everybody around you, because everybody can't be in the masses throwing, turning their back on the world. We need some people in this dunya, in this world, to do this work and on the financial tip. And so those who already have wealth, or you have access to wealth, you better get that money and use it for Allah and the Messenger. Not just Audi cars, bling, and all this foolishness that this society tells us that we're supposed to have to be quote-unquote successful. Okay? And I hope that answers your question. Alhamdulillah. Anything else?
My second one actually,
Come on.
I saw it on this article on Facebook, and I know we believe in it to an extent because it happened with the Prophet, but he was speaking in regards to time travel.
Yes.
And how the creator of The Simpsons, he believed he time traveled because he foretelled what was going to happen with Trump being president and the fire.
Right.
Now, as Muslims, do we believe in that? I know when the example you gave when the Prophet hit the glass and he traveled.
Mirage.
Yeah.
Mirage.
So, do we believe in that?
So, she's asking about like time travel, or how it is that people kind of understand, how does time work? So for us, we are people who believe in the Ard, right, the Arabic word that means the terrestrial world, and we are people who believe in the celestial world, the spiritual world. So how does time fit into that? Time is a human construct, all right? It's not a real construct. Time watches and how we understand things, that's only because we're human. We're just using our intelligence to look at the sun and how it is that we rotate around it, and we've kind of come up with a system that we call time, right? Even calendars around the world aren't the same. The Islamic calendar is not the same as the Chinese calendar, which is not the same as the Gregorian calendar, what they call a solar calendar, which is what we use, which is not the same as some people using other calendars, right? So even that in and of itself tells you that time and how we understand it is a man-made phenomenon. Now on the spiritual side, can people, I guess she's asking, can people kind of transcend time? The answer would have to be categorically yes. But how do you do it? Physically? No. Most likely when people are doing that, they're doing that through the spiritual self. For instance, when you fall asleep at night and you start to dream, are you in your bed? Are you really in that bed when you dream? So now physically, the body right there in the bed. I mean, if anybody come inside the room, they're going to be looking at you and you're going to be snoring and might be talking to yourself and moving back and forth. So you see the body. The body's just resting. But the soul is not there. The soul is gone. You astroplaning, you out there, right? Man, you fighting somebody fight, or you back on your job, you're trying to deal with your dead grandmother, whatever. Whatever you're into. When you're in that sleep state, the soul is still moving about. The soul is still moving on, which is a good proof that the soul exists. Like for people who believe that, well, how do you know the soul really exists? When you sleep, that's the part. That's the point. Because when you sleep, you're conscious. You're not unconscious. When you sleep, you are conscious on some level. And of course, you're unconscious on another level. But your soul is actually still ignited, and your mind is actually still doing this thing. It's alive, right? So yes, in that way, people can access certain things. Our prophet did what they call the Miraj or Isra, right? In other words, the Prophet Muhammad left this plane as we know it, and he went through other planes where he said he met other people, he said he met other prophets, he prayed behind them. He actually said that that's where God taught him how to actually make the prayer. That's when he was going back and forth and negotiating how many prayers we should make a day with Prophet Moses. Remember that story? For those who don't, we'll talk about that in the future. But this whole story of the Isra and the Miraj is dealing with what it is Pam is asking. Can we access it? Yes. You can access certain things. Anything that Prophet Muhammad did, on him be peace, basically we have the ability to do. That's why he was a man. He wasn't sitting as an angel or a jinn or a genie or anything else. He wasn't sitting here as an alligator or a lizard. He was sitting here as a human being, a man, right? And because he was sitting here as a man, that's an indication to you and I that whatever he can do, we can do. All right? So that's why in that hadith that Pam just read, at the last part of it, it talked about who are the people in the intelligence. How do you access all that stuff that she said that was the stuff of intelligence, as opposed to all that stuff that she was talking about that were the things of ignorance? How do you access that intelligence? The Prophet told, the Imam Ali told you, this Imam Jafar told you, this is how you access it. The people who are prophets, they got it. The people who are the Imams, we have it. And the saints have it. Huh? The saints is another category now, a third category. Who are the saints? Those are the people who are, when we're in Christian days, we say that boy sanctified and filled with the Holy Ghost. It's those people. Those people who met a certain level of sanctification or purification. Those are the people. They can also access that. And so, ending this, one of the sheikhs that was born in the 1920s, this is during the time where they were, the Islamic world and the French world were having a lot of fights in Africa. And he started to talk against the Moroccan sultans, right? Because they were mixing up too much with the European peoples. So he stood up against them. He was a Sufi saint. And that Sufi saint talked about going into these, he started to go into meditation. And he started to go into contemplation. And he said, I swear, he wrote in a letter to his followers. They put him in jail at one time, so the only way he could communicate with his followers was through letters. He said, I swear today, when I did my meditation, I left myself, and he said, and I saw myself in a whole nother part of the world where it was green and plush with vegetation, and he said there was a stream there, and he said, there I was, sitting. He said, I watched myself sitting in a whole nother part of the world. And he said, I just observed myself. And then he said, I asked myself, is that me? And as I went closer and closer, he said, it was me. It was me sitting there, right? And he said, and just as I recognized myself, I came back to myself where I was. And then he said, now I understand what the saints before me had said about that experience. He had an experience that he couldn't really explain. So that type of thing shows us that yes, you can. When you do it, you're not doing it physically, you're doing it with your soul. It's some type of soul thing, right? So that's one way I can answer that. So the creator of The Simpsons, I don't know that guy. I don't know if he's a person that has much spiritual insight. Some people don't have to go through what other people have to go through to get those gifts. Some people are born with it. And that's just it. I mean, just like people in this room are built to run fast. I wasn't a fast runner. I could run long, but I can't run fast, right? So I never looked at myself as a fast runner. So Allah didn't give me that. Then some people in this room are smarter than others. Just the natural intelligence. Some people got natural intelligence. Some people just don't have that kind of intelligence. There are people here who are naturally compassionate. The sweetest people on earth. They're just that way. They don't have to be made that way. They came here that way. And then some people are harsh. And they're not that way. They're not sweet at all. They're very harsh people by nature. That's how Allah, that's the way that Allah makes people. Is harshness always a bad thing? No. harshness could be a good thing to balance off the people who are sometimes too compassionate, right? So everybody have their own gifts that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them. So that guy from the Simpsons, he might be a blessed guy that way. I don't know anything about him. But that's it. That's all I have on that. Anything else for question and answers?